Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Welcome to Political Flashback. Welcome to Political Flashback every Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. It's always a great day to be here. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of good news breaking through. And thank God for having Dr. White and Sister Warrior and Jeff here. And I'm glad to be here every Thursday. Shout out to my good friend Don Miller. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Shout out to my good friend Johnny and Roberto, and to this wonderful audience who allowed us to be here every Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. While you're in your car, I just want to make sure you turn that radio station to 1680. I'm waiting. So go ahead. Turn it on to 1680. Or you could log in on WKBradio.com, or you could log in on your Facebook page. Just look us up on the Facebook page. So this is the way you could listen to us, or WOKBradio.com. So you go ahead on your phone. I'm waiting. I see you turning it on. Go ahead, WKB.com. Dr. White is going to have a wonderful conversation on Iran. Get ready for that fight.
Let's have it. Let's do it.
Get ready for that fight. Sister Warrior here. Warrior.
Yeah.
The big, beautiful bill is passed.
The big, beautiful bill.
Detail, the good side of the bill. We're gonna touch some good side, and also a new fight with Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Oh.
Donald Trump threat to send him back to Africa. Donald Trump threat to send Elon Musk to Africa. So stay tuned. Don't change, because like I said, for people who might think we bias or anything like that, no, we just come here, have good debate, and have great conversation. And I'm waiting for you. Go ahead. I know if you're in the traffic, tomorrow is Independence Day. The president's supposed to sign the big, beautiful bill. Okay, we're going to get some details, some of the positive and some negative about the bill. And Hakeem Jeffrey, he stood up for 7 hours. 7 hours didn't result in anything. That's his right as a minority. But, I guess he trying to beat Cory Booker record for another filibuster. So 7 hours. So trying to delay. It was a delay tactic. But being honest with you, both sides does it too. The Republican does it too. So, but Hakeem decided, listen, I'm gonna run my mouth for 7 hours, and that's actually turned off a lot of Republicans who were against the bill. Even we increased on our vote. So those are some of the detail we're going to talk about. And also, is Donald Trump ready to take out another site on Iran that, based on the information that we have, based on the information that's coming out of Israel cannot get to that site. So are we ready to drop another bomb on Iran? So we won't let Iran have another bomb. So this is for the next 2 hours that we're going to have this conversation. So shout out to my great audience, and shout out to the Miss Principal I have not heard from for a while, and Shanti. Okay, so let's start with Amanya. Amanya, she's in the streamline. Sister Warrior.
Yes.
And Dr.
Hello.
White is live in the studio. So if y'all heard someone that a good fight is going to happen in the studio here, that's just me and Dr. White. We're going to have some good debate and tomorrow, and he's going to have some good barbecue with me. So he told me he loved chicken.
Yeah.
Sister Warrior.
Well, sorry I'm not in the studio with you gentlemen. It's poor cats and dogs out there. But I'm glad that you're there. I won't be able to referee because I do know that there is a fight coming because we did put it on hold last week. But yes, there's a lot happening. Tomorrow is America's birthday, and the big, beautiful bill has passed, and it's going to be signed just in time for America's birthday. What a great present to the country. So I'm excited for that. There's a lot of goodies in there that I'm excited about, especially what's happening with Planned Parenthood. So that's something we're going to discuss as well. There's a lot happening. It's a very good bill. It's got its issues. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of issues. It's got some problems, but there is nothing ever good that comes. You know, it's never going to be perfect. So there's some good and there's some bad. And for me, the good outweighs the bad. So I'm really, really excited for this bill and what it's going to do for the American people.
And when we're ready, I hope the list is kind of long, so you read all the detail and you're going to give us all the good.
Yeah, I've read some of it. And I actually have my congressman, Corey Mills, who gave us some truths and some facts and some myths and truths about the big, beautiful bill. So I want to go through a couple of that. That would be great. We'll lay all of that out so people can understand, what's actually truth and what is actually false.
Thank you, Sister Dr. White. You have the floor.
Listen, I'm so happy to be here once again. Voy, that we also call the judge, and Sister Warrior, Armenia. I'm so glad to be on with you. It's going to be very, very fun. One thing that we cannot ignore is that when we celebrate the 4th of July, we cannot forget that the first person to die in this fight for independence was a Black man by the name of Crispus Attucks. That should always be on the forefront because he died when we weren't even citizens yet. Check that out. All right. But he understood the whole concept of fighting for freedom. And freedom does not come without a cost.
That's right.
And that cost was his life. So that's very, very important. I also want to, Voy and Amelia, they're listening to us right now in Georgia. I have some friends listening. I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Rashida and her posse, who is listening all the way in Georgia. Check that out. They're getting the truth there too. Yes, we have a lot to talk about. Also, what's so interesting, not only are we going to talk about the beautiful bill that Armenia is going to bring forth and the Iran issue, but also, how about this, the Alligator Everglades Detention Center? Something that's very, very interesting. All right?
Alligator Alcatraz.
Alligator Alcatraz.
Okay, that's cool. But it took them only 8 days to build it. It's going to house 5,000 individuals.
Individuals.
All right. There's no place to run unless they like to be alligator meat.
That's true.
So I'm assuming you okay with that prison. Is it a detention center or prison?
Well, I would just call it a detention center as of now.
Okay.
As of now. I mean, right now, the United States is running out of places. I mean, Guantanamo Bay is filled up in other areas. So he decided to build it there. There's also a lot of things that's taking place that we should talk about. That's the Diddy trial. That's important. I think that has a direct bearing on what is taking place politically. Because, I'm writing an article right now that justice is not black and white, but justice is who has the money.
Oh,
you see, who has the money?
Okay.
You see, so and that's
and Diddy got the money, right?
Diddy got the money. He got the money, but a money and fool will soon separate, and he started celebrating too quick.
Oh,
and the judge is going to come back and slap his backside with a few more years. So it's always good to be
passive. The original
passive.
was 20 years, so
well. Hopefully he got the Vaseline ready.
20 years.
He could have been, if he would have been convicted of RICO, it would have been life, 20 years to life.
Yeah, but he got 20 years. So, I mean, that's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years.
Supposed to be sentenced October the 2nd.
20 years. So We see what's happening there.
Is it let me say this. Now you have a lot of black media. Let me ask you that, Dr. White.
Yeah.
There's an allegation against Tyler Perry, a white male, accused him of sexual assault. We know since Bill Cosby, what happened. Is it a conspiracy to say that these rich black men's being attacked by white liberals, convicting them? It happened. Let's say this trial began under Biden. Yes, they got Ivy Weinstein, and but we seen the target been a rich black man in this country. It's been very even T.D. Jake was named in that trial. And now he had left his church, and the old Jimmy Swaggart is gone at 92.
Wait, Jimmy Swaggart is named in this too?
No, he's gone. He's gone.
He's gone. They can't get him.
He's gone. He died. He passed away yesterday. He's the old prostitution evangelical.
But I tell you, boy,
he was funny. He was funny.
Yeah,
but you remember his days?
Oh, I remember his days. I remember his days.
He was funny.
But I'm telling you, you can't always say racism on these things, because many of our leaders, if they're in politics, if they're entrepreneurs, if they're in entertainment, seem to like to model themselves after the worst of what they see in their industry. And something's wrong with that. Just because you see a white fella and a white girl doing these terrible things, it doesn't mean that you should follow them. All right? I mean, we have to have an element of morality, an element of decency. We have to have an element of civility. So therefore, I mean, by him having these strange parties and T.D. Jakes, if he's part of it, that's a shame. And then if Tyler Perry, who masquerades as a religious man, right? If he is following these types of things, then it's wrong. The most basic element is that we used to say years ago, as for a black man in leadership and a black woman in leadership, don't put yourself in compromising situations.
Well, hold on right there. Let me, with the sexual assault of Tyler Perry, I don't know if the Trump administration, DOJ, might go even further with this, and this is something I'm going to watch. If Tyler Perry settle, now Diddy gonna lose most of his property, a lot of his stuff, going to a lawsuit. Okay, everybody want a piece, and when one sexual accusation, then you see others start to fabricate it, recall. It's gonna happen. So Jay-Z is not out of the loop yet. Okay, just remember that. So Jay-Z, they might come after Jay-Z next, because the association of Jay-Z and P. Diddy, they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to fabricate. Should rich black professionals and well entrepreneur in this country to start looking at this very carefully, who they associate with, and start looking other investment overseas, because once they leech on you, we remember what happened to Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court, the mob. We see what happened to after 30 years, the allegation of Bill Cosby. So Dr. White, this is very, very seriously. So once accusation, then you're gonna see a lot of them start coming in.
As I stated in my book, Blacklisted, right, and throughout my lectures, when you are a person of African descent, especially, and you're in leadership, and you may have economic influence, and you may have political influence, you may have educational influence, you're going to be a target, and your enemies will come after you. That being said, you have to watch where you step. You can't put yourself in compromising situations. And if you're doing something wrong, you have to stop it and admit to it and keep on moving. All right. But many of our people, they get caught up in trying to live in the shadows and trying to live like the famous person they admired who didn't look like them. And they always come back and say, well, so-and-so did it. Frank Sinatra did it. So-and-so did it. You know, John Kennedy did it. But it doesn't mean that you have a past.
Because
to
John
do it.
Kennedy was a playboy.
Absolutely. Ask Marilyn Monroe.
I'm just,
I
wasn't born yet.
I mean, John Kennedy and Robert Kennedy had double Dutch time with Marilyn Monroe. I mean, John Kennedy, he didn't. Well, put it this way, he never saw a woman that he didn't like. Just call it for what it is. And a lot of them did like
and
that.
remember, Ted Kennedy actually
Chappaquiddick.
Chappaquiddick
That's
had
right.
actually
I mean,
kill a woman.
That's right. You know, he called the police, what, 8 hours later?
8 hours later.
All right. And he's a playboy. Heck, FDR was a playboy. A whole bunch of them. But it doesn't mean that, I mean, Bill Clinton, by God, I mean, there's rumors about him.
No, the famous I did not have sex with that woman.
I mean, people have told me that he was banging in a limousine. All right, that's your former president.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but African American leaders, Afro Latino, Afro Caribbean, we don't have that luxury.
But
and we shouldn't want it.
And you made a very good point. When they go after either celebrities or music mogul, they go after them very extremely hard.
Absolutely.
Compared to other politicians. I don't see. I'm looking at the Diddy case and Harvey Weinstein case. How hard that
R. Kelly and all of that.
R. Kelly, and this is what they basically they're gonna lose everything.
Yeah, you know, over foolishness. I hear Sister Warrior.
Yeah, I'll just chime in, gentlemen. So, in my thoughts, I don't see it really the way the two of you are having the conversation. I see it as in it's not really about Black men, or it's men in general, I would have to say. But you know, for Shannon Sharpe, $50 million, right? He recently was involved. Art Kelly, we talked about Harvey Weinstein, Bill Clinton, Kennedy. These are men, and these are men of power. So for me,
what did Bill Clinton lose?
What did he lose?
Yeah,
he didn't lose anything.
Okay,
he didn't even lose his wife.
He gained.
No, she said that he didn't see it as a black and white. But when you look at Bill Cosby, they don't even want to, after his case, his show don't even run on television anymore.
Right.
So he could have make money out of it.
Bill Cosby, that's I would say that's a little bit different, because they were saying that he was drugging people and having sexual, relations with them.
After 35
I'm just saying, it's a little bit different than Bill Clinton getting it on with, there's a difference in crime when you look at the two. Yes, I understand there's a time frame.
Ammonia, if you don't see the aggressiveness of political, I'm not going to say it's political, but persecution, I don't know what world you're living in.
Oh, I'm living right here in this world. And what my point is that this is a sexual power for men in general, not necessarily black and white. So yes, Diddy is in the pick. He's at the top of power. And yes, he's being taken down. Why? Because all of them have sexual immorality. That's what we're talking about here. It's the sexual immorality, and they are feeding it at every level. So Diddy, yes, they have money. They're able to get as many women as they want to, but on a smaller scale. The men are out here doing the same thing as well. They're just not doing it on the scale as Diddy. So for me, it's a sexual immorality thing, not necessarily because you're a black man, they're coming after you in that aspect.
Well, some of them are innocent. Let's take Neil Tyson DeGrasse. He is by far one of the greatest black scientists, one of the greatest scientists in the United States. He had a program. He was on all the airs. Then they came back and stated after 25 years of him graduating from college, some girl, white girl, says that, or he had sex with me and I didn't want to give him any. She raped him. The man don't even remember her. All right. They didn't even have a decent trial for him. They just canceled him. So yes, a lot of these black men are doing some terrible things, and you're absolutely right that many of them are involved in machismo culture and dominance. But a lot of them are innocent. All right. And they're innocent, but the larger community is after them because of their influence.
And Dr. White, sorry, I just need a motion out of what you're just saying. And let me remind Sister Warrior, Mike Tyson was accused of rape and went to prison. And his case, it was bizarre. I don't think and he served it almost 5 years.
Yeah,
in
it
prison.
destroyed him actually.
And Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, was a consent, and also he settled his case. So there is a pattern there, and we, like I said, I don't know where Sister Warrior been.
It's
Sister
not
Warrior.
that I've been anywhere or not been anywhere. I hear what you're saying. Your argument is that black men are literally being targeted, and white men who does the same thing they're not going after them in the same capacity. That is what you're telling me, right?
Absolutely.
What's the guy's name who was
But
in
what I'm
Fort
saying,
Lauderdale?
huh?
The fellow who committed suicide. He was in Fort Lauderdale. He had the Virgin Island place. He was taking girls there. He took
Epstein.
Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
No. He abused thousands of children, right?
Well, the reason why the Epstein case was so hot because there was so many high profile, and you see what happened. He did, and I don't think based on what I'm gonna say here, when Kash Patel, who's the director of FBI, and Dan Bongiorno, who's the deputy director of FBI, before they were confirmed in that position, and Kash Patel, I will get the clip, stated he didn't think it was suicide. Both of them say that. Once they become the FBI director, and you could see the video where Dan Bongino and Kash Patel wasn't, you could tell they went now and say, well, yeah, sure, he committed suicide. But that was not their position before.
No, it wasn't. And also what's interesting about Epstein is that, when he was first caught, remember, they put him in jail, but only for the night. He could go to his office in the day, do what he wanted to do, all right, and he'd just go at night to the prison to sleep. All right, remember that?
Yeah.
All right.
So, Sister Dr. White, we're going to get back to this. We'll make a little bit of an announcement here about the tomorrow barbecue.
That's going to be good.
Tomorrow barbecue, and this whole audience is invited over the Radio Panic FM. That's 99.9 FM in Orlando, located in west of Oak Ridge Road. It's going to be like a barbecue, but a Haitian style barbecue. Haitian style. When we say Haitian style barbecue, Haitian don't eat barbecue without rice and beans.
Yeah, rah-rah too, rah-rah celebration.
Yeah, rah-rah celebration.
Rah-rah.
So the address is 1018 West Oak Ridge Road, Orlando, Florida, 32809. Once again, 1018 West Oak Ridge Road, Orlando, Florida. This whole audience is invited, and the family of WOKB is also invited at the barbecue tomorrow. This is an annual barbecue that we usually have every year, but due to COVID, so we had stopped. So we started again. So hopefully, supposed to be rain tomorrow. So hopefully we're gonna have a great time regardless, of the rain. So Dr. White gonna be there. Jeff is gonna be there. The whole crew. So and people on this audience who follow our show, we'll love to have you there tomorrow at the Haitian barbecue. Dr. White, if you want to add something to that, and Sister Warrior, if you have anything that you wanted to announce, I know you're going to have your next thing coming up. So
yes, so we're going to be having our another Liberty Halls event. And this time it's a group of Gen Zers. And we wanted to have a conversation with younger people. And you know what, Dr. Issa White?
Yes, ma'am.
Your son would be a great panelist to be a part of that conversation if he's willing to. I would love for him to participate because I know he's got some political views, and I would love for him to be a part of it.
I just drafted him. I'm the daddy. He'll be there.
Okay, so there you have it. So we're going to have young people. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk politics and what's happening in our country, what's happening in the world, essentially, and just take their point of view again, because they are going to be taking the reins. So we need to start having conversations with them and making them feel included. So this is going to be Gen Z Speaks, and it's going to be August 9th. It's a Saturday from 11 a.m. until about 3 p.m. And it's going to be hosted once again with us at the Church of Scientology over there on Oak Ridge, not too far from where the radio station barbecue is going to be. So we'll have more information on that. It's going to be a great, great time with youth. And I would suggest that you bring your youth, and so that they can see what's happening and be a part of the conversation. And we'll have more on that as we get closer to it, but it's going to be Saturday, August 9th.
Okay, and on August the 2nd, I'm having a program at the Winter Park Public Library. It's called Blacklisted: The State of America. I'll be signing books, but we will talk about the state, how the country is moving. Why are so many people who speak out against injustice? Why are so many people who speak against the narrative are being blacklisted, polarized, and having their whole lives destroyed? We look for everyone to be there. It's going to be on a Saturday at 2:00 at the Winter Park Public Library.
Okay. And remember, the barbecue starts at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. is a free event. 2 p.m. is a free event. So I'd love to see everybody there. And also remember Miss Maggie with Daily Bread Distribution Center that was here last week with us is having this wonderful Silver Legacy Impact Gala. That's going to be August the 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And that's going to take place once again, August 9th from 7 to 11 p.m. The address is 125 North Lake Shore Drive, Ocoee, Florida, 34761. Once again, that's Daily Bread Distribution Center. Is a nonprofit. She does some great work. She's been around Orlando 20 years, serving the community with free food. We need to support these kind of nonprofit, this kind of organization, so they could keep up, especially in a time of need and a time of difficulty. Remember, we are in the hurricane season. Make sure there's already about 12, according to the Hurricane Center, 12 severe hurricanes. So take care of each other. Take care of our brothers and sisters, and also check our insurance company, make sure everything is up, and we support these events. The phone number to contact Miss Maggie for the gala, 407-285-1108. Once again, 407-285-1108. So that's August 9. It's a nonprofit. So call her for your ticket or get your ticket online. Okay. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. Now let's get back to the big, beautiful bill. Sister Royer, give us what's in the bill and what's listed, darling.
Okay. So there's a couple of things that's going on with the bill. So one that I'll talk about briefly is the fact that Planned Parenthood is losing out. They have been defunded to the tune of $500 million for this next year. So if you don't know what Planned Parenthood does, mainly one of the things that they do is the termination or the murder or the killing, whatever you want to call it, of human babies in the womb. So Planned Parenthood is being defunded. So that's going to mean a lot of babies not being terminated, murdered, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm excited for that. And another thing that's happening with the bill is that I want to touch base on what my representative said. He has a couple of myths and what's true. So one of the myths that they have is that they state that the big beautiful bill, just give me 1 second. So one of the myths that they have is that the one big beautiful bill is just a tax break for billionaires. So we're just going to debunk that right now with the facts. So the one big beautiful bill, it delivers the highest middle class and working class tax cut in the history of this country. The president's legislation will put more than $10,000 a year back in the pockets of typical hardworking families. This is the most pro-growth, pro-worker, pro-family legislation that has ever been crafted. So that's one myth. So when they tell you that all this is doing is giving money to the billionaires, it's not necessarily true. They will probably, be benefited as well, but the middle class and lower class people, they will also be benefited as well. And another one that they say that it's going to hurt small business. Well, that's another thing that is not true. The big beautiful bill will make Trump tax cuts permanent. So they're going to be permanent, including small business deductions, helping Main Street grow, and so that they're able to hire more people. So this is going to be good for small businesses and to put more people to work. And another thing that this bill is really going to do, especially in the Black community, is that it's going to give more jobs to Black folks, because guess what? This bill is making sure that we don't have illegals here taking jobs away from Americans. So that's another thing that this bill does. And so I think people need to be, very mindful of all of the good things that's coming out of this bill. And another one that they say is a myth is that it's going to cut the food stamps, right, for families, and people are going to die of hunger, right? Mm-hmm. The SNAP. Well, that's not the case. Okay, this bill, it protects and strengthens SNAP, because what it's going to do is going to cut waste and abuse, where people who doesn't deserve it or people who shouldn't get it, those people will be cut out. So in some cases, it will be cut out for some, but not for those people who are deserving of it. And the same thing goes for Medicare. It's not cutting grandma's Medicare. It's not cutting SSI for those who needs it, but it will cut it for those who are on there and shouldn't be on there. If you're able to work, if you're an able-bodied person who's able to work, then you should go to work and not sit around collecting Social Security. So those are some of the highlights for me and what the big beautiful bill represents.
So you're telling me that all the things that the Democrats have been saying is nothing but more than a scare tactic, right?
Yep. Fear-mongering, scare tactics. That's all they have. So people could fear, so people could be afraid of this or that or that. No, that's not it. They're cutting some things, yes, but it's where it's cutting for those who are abusing it, not for those who need it. If grandma needs her check, grandma worked for her check. So grandma's going to get her check. But the illegal or whoever able-bodied male who's saying he's disabled and he's trying to collect this check, no, you can't get that check because it belongs to grandma, because grandma put in the pot and now she can pull out of the pot.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to put more money into the program for deportation, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead,
no, that's
Dr. Roy. So this is some of the list we're going to go over, some of the good stuff.
Okay.
some of the good stuff. Well, you could pick one. Some of the good stuff on it. So, what's really interesting to me about this bill, and I know you got the list in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris take, especially for no tax on overtime, no tax on tip, no tax
Mhm.
on Social Security, and Amania, do you know who introduced that legislation? No tax on Social Security. Social
It
Security.
was Donald J. Trump.
No, no, no. You know who started it? Who introduced? Who passed that? No. Who charges for tax on Social Security?
Who charged on taxes on
Yeah.
social?
Who introduced that bill in the Senate?
Well, I don't know who
Tax-
introduced it in the Senate.
It was Joe Biden in 1983.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow.
It was
Really?
Joe Biden in 1983.
Really?
So, and as we see now, after this bill signed tomorrow by the president, and shout out, kudos to a great job for the Republican caucus, the Freedom Caucus in Washington. The Freedom Caucus, a lot of these guys are very conservative, so a lot of them was being held out. And to Mike Johnson, who did a great job by finally, the vote was 218 in the House. And the Senate also ratified, but there's still money for health care for illegal immigrants, so the Republican was not able to take that out. So, Dr. White, when you look at now, people are going to say they thanks to the technology, podcasts, radio, people's getting their information a little bit quicker now, so they could debunk some of the negativity out of the bill, you could say. For somebody who's listening to us, who's a average Joe out there, after this bill signed, it'll take effect, working 40-hour plus in the job, they're going to be no longer charging, you're no longer going to be paying tax on overtime.
Mm-hmm.
That's money
In the pocket.
on their pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say after 40 hours, somebody worked 10 hours or 5 hours overtime. Now the government is not taking taxes. Now let's say you have an elderly family, parents out there who was getting Social Security. Well, guess what? After this bill signed tomorrow take
Right.
effect, so they're not going to take social taxes out of the Social Security.
That's right.
That's extra money. Now for the average blowjos again, who's working either in the restaurant, taxi, or whatever, hotel, housekeeping, and whatever service job we could say. Well, guess what? The government is no longer taking taxes out of it, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And this is the one that Kamala Harris stole out of Trump, and none of the Democrat had voted for it.
This bill deals with real bread and butter issues. The American people, they want more money in their pocket. They want to be able to save more, and they want less taxes. And one of the things that got me about this bill, I just looked over it, and that is they had a provision directed towards family farms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a few acres. I'm a little farmer as well. And many of us small farmers are double taxed all the time. And it would take away this, because right now, one of the greatest problems that we have in the United States is that Black farmers cannot get a break. We don't have enough money to buy equipment. We don't have enough money to take our produce to market. And we're oftentimes double taxed. I'm glad that this is going to help Black farmers, because we don't have many, but we still have a few that's in Orange County and a few hundred that's still in the state of Florida.
Another great thing too, Dr. White and Sister Warrior, permanently increased to the child tax. So, Sister Warrior, if you're thinking of having another baby here,
Have some babies.
Remember,
Oh no, honey. that boat has shifted.
okay, permanent increase to the child tax, and also Donald Trump also going to give you $5,000 for having babies. So
So she can have 2 or 3 babies.
yes,
and 5,000.
yeah, 2 or 3 babies.
Oh, man.
But people,
I have about 10 babies.
well,
No thanks. Not enough money in the world.
and to the average taxpayers out there, you're going to save another $10,000 a year, an extra $10,000 in your pocket. But I want people to understand this: during the Joe Biden administration, they keep the Trump tax cut. That's what kept Joe Biden afloat. Remember that. See, you listen to the nonsense of the Democrat. Throughout the 4 years, they keep, and that's why the economy did not collapse under Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
If it was in the Trump tax cut. Now the tax cut is permanent. He made it permanent.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, during Biden and Obama, remember the increased taxes. This is the Democrat, because they want to keep some of this social program. And that's why they were able to fund some of the AID program throughout the world.
Mm.
Okay. So the music is playing. So when we come back, we're gonna head it down to Didi, and we're gonna me and Dr. White. I think he's getting ready. He's got his note there. I don't know if he's on Israel on the run. So it's gonna be very exciting. So
You can do all types of things. We go any place.
Go ahead, Jeff.
All right.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Natasha Cruz, your family nurse practitioner. I run a med spa here in Metro West at 6996 Piazza Grande Ave in Orlando, Florida. We specialize in aesthetic medicine. We have lasers that are safe on all skin types. So if you're looking for laser hair removal, melasma treatment, Botox, or fillers, give us a call, 407-405-6074. Again, the number to reach me is at 407-405-6074. Talk to you soon.
Hey family, it's your girl Lady Drina. That's right, this is Lady Drina and I am back. I'm inviting you to tune in and join in each and every Monday through Friday with It's Mornings Live Drive right here on Inspiration 1680 100.7 FM, the heart and soul of the community.
You're listening to Inspiration 1680 AM, WOKB Winter Garden, W2640F 100.7 FM Kissimmee, and around the world at WOKBradio.com. Inspiration 1680 AM and 100.7 FM Kissimmee.
Program is not necessarily those of WOKB staff and management of Unity Broadcasting.
Welcome back for the second hour of our show, Political Flashback. Here we every Thursday. Don't forget tomorrow. Be safe. 4th of July tomorrow. Be safe. It's gonna be. It's supposed to be a wonderful weekend, but there's a possible tropical storm tomorrow, so there's gonna be some rain. But that's not gonna persuade us tomorrow. We're gonna have a wonderful time at the barbecue, rain or not. And so yeah, be safe. We want everybody to be safe to come back here every Thursdays, so we could go ahead and sit down and have a great talk. Shout out to my to Glenn Allgood, and once again, don't forget to check out my brother's show, my good show, my brother, Don Miller, on this podcast tonight. Okay, so now he's on for 2 hours. Don, happy 4th of July. Hopefully, see you tomorrow, brother. So promise I'll cook some good food for you, man. Glenn, I'm waiting for you too, brother. So hopefully to see all you guys. Drina, okay, to see all you guys out there with me tomorrow. I might even put Dr. White on the grill. I don't know if he can cook or not.
Man, I can burn. What are you talking about?
I might put Dr. White. I'm a good cook. So
Some halal steaks I bring.
Halal steak. Okay, just bring whatever you want. We'll cook it for you. So, and then Sister Will, so all the family is going to be out there. So it's going to be a joyful day. But on a serious note, we're going to hear, and I know Sister Warrior and Dr. White, for the 2026 midterm, we're going to hear a lot about the big, beautiful bill and all the nonsense, all the scary tactics out there. And you guys got to be ready for it, especially the cut on Social Security. Let me touch on this. A lot of it is waste and fraud, but the Democrat, and you already have people who have concern already on that. So you guys got to be ready and be prepared. And also SNAP, children gonna go hungry, because we know the Democrat play on emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start with you, Dr. White, on that point.
I mean, one of the things that we have to understand and learn that the Democrats like to, as Sister Warrior stated, they create elements of fear. The beautiful bill is actually going to give more strength to the American community, especially the underclass. When I say the underclass, I'm talking about people who are oftentimes are individuals who are not seen. They polarize, they're ignored, and they're just taken and they're found in the shadows of society. It's going to bring these people out and give them a real life, opportunities whereby they can get real food, develop real businesses. They can grow and finally be part of this American pie. Now think about it. If you follow the ideas of the Democrats, we're following an idea where people have had limited opportunity for much of the 20th century. And that is why in major cities like New York and Chicago, Miami, even Orlando, you have hundreds and thousands and millions of people who are unemployed. You have people who have no housing. This is going to bring true housing opportunities for our community. Do you realize, Roy and Sister Warrior, that we have over 1 million people who are homeless in the United States today? All right. And this type of bill will help that organization, will help those people. And we have to look at that. We're talking about jobs and opportunities. But people don't have jobs, they cannot grow, they cannot develop, they cannot plan for their future. This is going to answer some of those issues. And again, my big thing is on farming. Finally, we're going to have a bill that's going to address farmers. What Biden did during his administration, he got a cute idea that he is going to give each farmer approximately $5,000 or $10,000. And he did do that, but it did not do anything to change the barometer, to make our lives better and to make our production better at that level. So I think it's a great thing.
Sister Warrior?
Well, I'm in agreement. I think the bill is going to really move this country forward. And when we say we're moving the country forward, that means nobody left behind. And I know they play on the emotions of people who may not be so savvy like we are, where we keep up with these things. And so they play on the emotions of people and saying, this is going to affect you. They're going to take away your food stamps. They're going to take away your Medicare. They're going to take away all of your rights. They're taking away everything. And that's not the case. This bill is moving the country forward. And Issa, you mentioned something which I think is really important, is that when we're looking at this, people are going to be lifted up out of situations that they're in. So one of the things with the SNAP, not everybody needs to be on SNAP. Not everybody needs to be on food stamps. If you're able to buy and afford food stamps and you work then you shouldn't be on that. That should go to those people who really, really need it. Absolutely. And so what this is doing is going to cut out those people who doesn't need to be on it. And so therefore we make room to pull up those people who actually do need to be on it. And that's the same thing with the housing, with removing all of these people that don't belong here, that's taking up housing. Once they vacated the premises or they vacated the country, if you will, guess what? There's going to be property available so we can house these millions of homeless that's currently living on the streets. So, just over the weekend, I went to an event just downtown, Saturday morning, 9:00 Saturday morning. I was downtown at the public library. There was a line of people getting ready to go in, homeless people, because this is where they spend most of their days. They go in there to get their showers. Not their showers, but to charge their phones, to use the bathroom. They spend their days down there. I mean, 9:00 in the morning, a bunch of homeless people waiting for the library to open. So yes, we should be able to get these people off the streets and get them into places to live. So this big, beautiful bill is going to pull us all up, and it's going to be America first. We're not talking about other people. We're talking about making this country better and the people that's living in this country better. So for me, this bill is a win.
On a side note, Dr. White and Sister Warrior, I think the bill was what President Trump wanted, and it was right on target. He's going to be able to sign it tomorrow. But on the economic front, the S&P was the highest peak, closed at 500, above 500, 6,200 for the first time in history, in U.S. history. And that's bold on the president part. Now, let's look at the tariff. How one of the big news last week is with China, and you don't see the media's talking about it. It's final. Okay, so President Trump, now, and also this week, supposed to sign with Vietnam, finalize with Vietnam, tariff with Vietnam.
Yeah.
So you don't see the media, and also now some of the economists that was questioning President Trump tariff is bringing almost the latest number. I don't have it in front of me, but I'll check it. Very good revenue for the economy. And now, since we settled with China, it was finalized last week. The tariff with China and opening some other sectors for the American investment, and also dealing with Vietnam, and almost done with almost 70 countries. I know we still back and forth with Canada. I know Canada turned around last week, charged us another tariff for technology. Trump said, okay, if that's the way they're going to deal with it, we're going to charge them up. You're going to go up back to 50%. And also the dealing with the EU, the European Union. So he's winning in every front. Okay. And also the side note to that, the Supreme Court last Friday, when it come to injunction for district judge to issue a nationwide injunction, Supreme Court no longer. So this is, and also childbirth citizenship. For some reason, I thought it was not going to be on his favorite. It turned out to be on his favorite. So we'll get a chance to talk about that a little bit with childbirth citizenship, what they call tourism birth. That's what the president was acting on for people to come in this country to go ahead and have a baby and leave. And when the child turned 21, they could give the family a green card. And now if it's two illegal parents, illegals having children in the United States, so that's going to be up to the determination of this administration. So this is open another chapter in our Constitution of the United States. And remember the 14th Amendment, and President Trump, you know it better than I do. You're very good in history. So this is big.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that you mentioned that President Trump has rewritten the narrative.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to China. Now, not a lot of people will not understand what's taking place, but Mr. Trump is looking down the road at how the United States is going to be a player in the midst of competitors. Right now, you have China, the second largest economy. Right behind that, you have India. All right. Then you have other countries, Saudi Arabia. They're coming up too. He understands that if the United States is going to be a major player economically, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, we have to change our fabric, our definitions, and rework our relationship with these countries. Once China and the United States worked out their disagreement, and they have, not only does it bring forth revenue in the United States, but also, Voy and Sister Warrior, it brings forth industry in the United States. And why is this so important? Do you realize that some of the components of the military armaments are being made in other countries? That we cannot even produce them as we want to carry on any type of conflict. So he's changed the whole fabric. Now, going to birthright citizenship, he's reworking the 14th Amendment. All right, because many people have abused the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment clearly states that that people that were formerly slaves, their children now, in the 15th Amendment, their children will be able to have full citizenship in the United States. It was not designed and intent for aliens or foreigners to bring their children here, to come here pregnant, and just have a baby and say that they are citizens. I know a number of my colleagues who are historians, and a number of my friends who may be on the other side. They don't like this, but this is for the element of the security of the United States. And I'll tell you something. Most other countries are like this as well. And for example, you go to Saudi Arabia, you go to the United Emirates, you can work there for 20 and 30 years, but you'll never be able to be a citizen. Never. They said, no, we're not going to give it to you. And just because you come here pregnant and you have a baby, you can't be a citizen. That's also for Germany. And that's for a number of countries in Europe, in the European Union. So what he has done a tremendous job in protecting the interests
he opened
of the American people.
He opened a serious dialogue challenge to the 14th Amendment, Dr. White. No doubts, because you have all the state now is going to make some determination and legislation got to take effect. So this is going to be also a center of for the 2026 midterm.
But people have to understand, once they understand what the intent of the 14th Amendment was, then they would be then they can conceptualize the perspective that Trump has done and why this is important. Because really, if it is designed for everyone else, you know who falls, who hurts greatly, are the African Americans. That's who hurts greatly in voting power, in economic power, in political power. So if you're African American or an Afro-Latino or Afro-Caribbean in the United States, you have to take this very seriously and look at it in depth, not to get involved in emotion, but look at it in depth and look at your own interest.
But Dr. White, when you say that that's an illegal family came in this country, the 14th Amendment does not define that. But now, with the executive order that the President Trump had taken, the second part of that, let's say, if they have a child with a U.S. citizen, the mother's illegal. If they have a child with a U.S. citizen, that's when the child become legal. But if both of them is illegal, so there's gonna have to be some. I mean, the Supreme Court still have to come back to this.
But they call those amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, as Civil War amendments. And that meant that it was designed for the individuals who were former slaves and to bring them into the Union as citizens, as full participants in this thing that we call Americana. It was not designed. There was no element.
Your parents was a immigrant, is that correct?
Yes, my father. Yes, absolutely.
From Haiti?
No, from Costa Rica.
From
my
Costa
mother's
Rica.
family came from Haiti.
Your mother's family. So they both, when they had you, were they legal or illegal?
My mother was born in the United States.
Your mother
Her
was born.
father,
Okay.
Yeah. My father, he was
Your
deported.
father was legal. Okay.
When I was born, he was legal, but before I was born, he was deported.
Okay.
All right. He was deported because he came in like many, sneaked into the country through South Carolina, worked his way up to New York from South Carolina. And they found him out. They gave him 2 weeks to leave the country, and he did. And he came back as a legal citizen. So this issue is really not about illegal and not illegal. It's about who wants to follow the laws and the mandates of the American society and the laws of this country. And if you follow the laws of this country, there are opportunities for you in reference to this element that we call immigration. I mean, we have yes.
Yeah, no, you finish your thought.
I mean, we have literally millions of people who are here who are illegal, and they're living off the system, and they're hurting again. I'll be specific, the African American who has worked, who has struggled, who has died for these things.
But Dr. White, because how this is, I want you to read the key provision in the 14th Amendment, because it said all person born in the United States is a U.S. citizen. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because it's just now this is going to be tough. It's going to define. So go ahead.
For example, you want to keep provisions, define citizenship and guarantees that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, the intent was for freedmen, not for everyone else. And I'll tell you why. Because
but the Constitution, unless you put an amendment, the Constitution does not define that.
Yeah. That because it was taken as an intent. That's why it has to be amended. Because remember, at this time, prior to the 14th Amendment, who was coming to the United States? We had Italians who was coming. We had Germans. We had people from Scotland, English people, Portuguese, and several others. They came in not because of the 14th Amendment. They came in because they were white and they were given privilege to come in. However, the freedmen did not have this. So that's why the 14th Amendment was done. Again, it was not designed for aliens in that manner because they didn't need it. We did not begin to see aliens taking advantage of this until first case in the late 19th century, in the 1890s, then heavily around the 1960s. That's when there was a big outbreak. Let's go to America. I don't know if you remember seeing this movie. There was a play called West Side Story.
Yes.
All right, West Side Story, about the Jets and the Sharks.
Yes.
Gangs. And one group was from Puerto Rico, in which they're citizens, and the other group were white Americans. But the point is that come to America for opportunity. Come to America to change your life. Come to America. This is the land of greatness. And this play actually exemplified the reasons why people were coming. So they began to come like that and utilize the 14th Amendment, utilize birthright citizenship to push their agenda forward. And again, it was not designed for that.
So
Okay, Sister
I,
Roy.
yeah, I will just say that as well with Dr. Issa White. That is absolutely correct. When the 14th Amendment was put, it was for the children of slaves to count them as citizens. And it was not for people coming into the country. It was for those slaves and their children. And yes, as the time went on, people or states have taken advantage of that. And now it is being corrected. And so I understand this thing is very, very messy and chaotic because so many people come to this country. They come here half pregnant just so they can deliver on the sands of Normandy. Well, on the sands of our shores. They come here half pregnant just for that. So that, okay, the child is born. Oh, my child is an American. We can't go nowhere. We're staying. Absolutely. And that's false. And that's why people have been incentivized to continuously come, because it's been put out there that if your child is an American citizen, then, you're okay. But I'm glad that President Trump is putting it in place. He is not saying all the way. He's saying you got one parent that's an American citizen. The other one, then we'll continue to call you an American. But if you got both illegal parents, it's not going to work. And I'm in agreement with that.
But when let's take the hypocrisy side of this, Dr. White, and if anybody the phone line be open.
Yeah, call us up.
Yeah, we don't
47894 1680.
Unless you want us to.
47894 1680. Because I want to hear from some folks out there. You look at Trump family. His grandfather was immigrant out of Germany. Okay. Well, his father was born here, but his grandfather. So they were immigrant in this country. So to look at, and you look at all Donald Trump past wife, none of them was born in this country. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if that's the standard that set, what do you say to the folks that disagree with you on that point? And your parents came to this country. Okay, Amania came here at the age of 6. How do you make that argument to the folks that say you're a hypocrite?
It's not being hypocritical.
Well, I'll take that. Let me take that right now.
All right.
So what I would have to say, we came in this way because this is what the lay of the land was doing.
Absolutely.
This is what was happening.
Okay.
Nobody can be faulted. But I would say from this moment on, with what we know, and now that we're changing course, I would say we let this sleeping dog lie. Moving forward, we put systems in place where this cannot continue. It's been happening. There's nothing because trying to undo this. Oh, this one's a citizen. Your family wasn't a citizen. This person wasn't a citizen when you were born. So it becomes very messy. So I say moving forward, we let the sleeping dog be, and we move forward. And that way, coming in as we come in now, no, you won't be a citizen just because you have a child here. So that's my take on that.
I would agree with her 100%. But, there were some things that was taking place at least 30 years ago that gave us signs that this was going to take place. I mean, first, we saw European countries having the same predicaments, the same argument, many of them. And it was about one thing. One, how to preserve your culture, how to preserve your lifestyle, how to preserve your moral base. It's all connected to this, you see. Then when you have so many different groups coming in illegally, all of those things are being challenged. For example, France. If you go to France right now, you have to ask a very serious question. Is France still French? All right, because you have so many illegals coming in, and they have changed actually the culture of France. England is going through this thing right now as well. You have to have some safeguards to protect your own country. Even be seeing some of this taking place in some African countries, where a number of other people are coming in that's diluting their culture. These are very real issues.
Mhm.
You know, the biggest recipient of countries, the biggest recipient of China is number one on childbirth tourism.
Mhm.
Second is Russia. Third is most of the Caribbean nation. People come here and have children, and we stuck with the bill. That's what they call childbirth tourism.
Mhm.
Okay. So, to that point, especially let's come China and Russia. Last week, we know once some of that deal contract, the president talking with China, is allowed 400,000 students to study in the United States. And part of that, the Chinese government, to make sure these students, they spy in the United States for the CCCP, the Chinese Communist Party, Dr. White. So imagine those that's born here and they could go back to China and be well trained by the Chinese government and then come back here in the United States as a citizen. Is that the security risk that we're taking? That's what the vision that Donald Trump's seeing, not just China, but Russia, but the Caribbean nation. We're not worried about that too much being espionage in this country.
Yeah.
Because you guys gonna have this argument with that's
Well, with spying, I take it in a lukewarm manner because, I mean, we have Israeli spies, we have German spies, we have a lot of spies. They spying on us, we spying on them. But the problem here is that when you go to the university, as a university professor now, and you look at who are the ones who are getting PhDs in science, who are
the
getting
Asian.
Asians.
Yeah, the Asian.
All right, not only in science, but even the arts and science, arts and culture, are the Asian people. So therefore, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place because while some of them may be spies, many of them contribute to our society because they're doing research that many of our American students do not do. Most of our American students, they go into business for a couple of years and get out. They go into sports, they make the money and get out. They may go into some teaching and they get out, but very few are going into advanced levels of thinking, physics, PhD, epidemiology, PhD, nuclear engineering, PhD. Our students are not doing it. All right, so therefore, if we don't have some of these, and not only our Asian students doing it, African students, and guess what? Haitians as well. They're going into these fields. But the African American and the white American.
How do you want the
American,
African American to focus on that? We're talking about transgenders and women and
absolutely,
and this thing being started in school. So no wonder we so I just want to put that on the side note.
Trump is the presidency. I put him in jail.
I'm glad you brought that up, boy. I'm glad you brought that up because absolutely right. In the Black community and the Black and browns, as they like to call it, these are the things that they are teaching these kids. These kids are not being advanced. They're not being taught to do extra. And I want to just say that being that we've brought up this transgender conversation, another win that we've had recently as of a couple of days ago is that President Trump was able to have, I think that's part of the big, beautiful bill as well, I think, where Penn State University is now reneging. If you remember, that is the school where the transgender male, Leah Thompson, was winning medals left, right, and center against women, right? Well, the university, President Trump says, no money for you. And so the school is now reneging on that. And they are now taking back the medals that Leah Thompson supposedly won, and is giving it to the females that were actually in the race, who actually won the race if he wasn't there. So that is a big win for women in sports and women in general. The tide is turning. It is time to remove men out of women's spaces. And President Donald J. Trump, promises made and promises kept.
I don't understand this. Democrat is double down, and hopefully you guys will hit this hard in the campaign trail. Where is the Dr. White? Where's the feminist movement in America supposed to support women?
The feminist movement, for the most part, is dead.
I shouldn't have asked you that. You're a man.
I'm a man, but I have an opinion.
But since you're a professor, I just
But the sad thing about the feminist,
I'll just leave that to Sister Roy in a minute. Yeah.
We should separate feminist movement from the women movement. The feminist movement was nothing more than political.
Educate me on that. What is the feminist
feminist
movement compared to the women movement? So enlighten me a little
The
bit.
feminist movement has this perspective that men are evil, men are the enemies of society, and that men should not really exist unless they.
Are you talking the modern day feminist movement?
I'm talking about the modern day feminist
Okay,
movement.
because I know that's okay. All right, I just want to be clear now.
Now the women's movement focus on equity and empowerment of women. All right, not and being strong in your own skin, not trying to emulate men, not trying to degrade men. It's two different things. You see, and so the feminist movement, from my perspective, which is primarily a white upper class movement, essentially dead because we found out that the gains that they received did not translate to empowerment for Black women, Hispanic women, Afro-Latino women. Did not at all. So the feminist movement on that. On that one is completely dead. Sadly, many African American women have gotten caught up in the feminist movement. I mean, do you notice how many Black women now who are in politics are getting in trouble? All right, they're misusing their power, they're embezzling, they're beating people up, they're doing a terrible job all over the country. I was just speaking to a friend of mine in Georgia.
So what you're telling me, it is the feminist movement now who's all about this men in the women's sport, men turning
Absolutely.
to women, men turning to transgender kids. So is that the modern day feminist movement is not
Absolutely.
there to protect women anymore?
It's not there to protect.
Okay, all right. I don't know if Sister Warriors agree with you on that.
Well, I would say this. I'm absolutely in agreement with the feminist and what you said, Dr. White, there, because it's true. They were not really advocating for what's good for women, because everything that they've advocated for has really been detrimental to we the women, because you don't need a man. You can do it by yourself. You strong. You a woman. You don't need all that. Well, all of that is detrimental to we the women. And that's why you got a whole bunch of single women out here because of this feminist movement, because they bought into this lie. Again, not putting our best foot forward, not putting our interests forward. And so what's happening now with the real women? So he's right. There's two different ones. There's one, and right now I would consider myself a woman for women, because I speak on behalf of women's sports and I speak on behalf of women inequalities in those places, not like the feminist who wants men in women's spaces. It's so everything is upside down, but we the women just won a big thing today because of what President Trump did. And that's for women. That's going to be for girls moving forward, removing men out of our spaces. This is what feminists should be about. But unfortunately, it's not.
Okay. All right. And I hope things get better.
What about that? There's some a person who says she's a lady, but she's in the WNBA. There's been a lot of controversy. A tall lady about,
Oh,
and they now claim that she's a man.
the one that was in prison in Russia.
That's right.
Okay.
Sister Warrior may know something.
I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Another man in a
she's
woman's
she's a
spaces?
woman. She's a woman.
She's
a
a,
woman.
well, I mean, was she 6'7"?
Yeah.
You're transgender?
17?
No. She's a
Two.
biological
She was
female.
born a female.
Yeah,
Okay.
born a female.
Is
And
that
what's happening?
confirmed?
Yeah, she's what's her name? Gang. She the one that was in prison in Russia, was on the Biden negotiation.
I know. What's her name?
Courtney?
The lesbian. She transitioning into a dude? What's her
guess
name?
she's supposed
It
to.
looks like that.
The tall basketball player, right?
Yes.
Oh God, Brittany Griner.
Brittany
Yeah.
Griner. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But doesn't she
I
use
feel like
pronouns
she's
as a man?
becoming a man. I feel like she's like taking hormones and it's transitioning. Like if you see her, she's looking like she's more and more embracing, the masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She challenged some biological male basketball players to a game the other day, saying that she could beat them.
Yeah. It's insanity. We're
So
living in Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs world.
I thought she was a man.
No,
she's a woman. She
was born biological female, but she carries herself,
female.
and I think she's having like voice changes, hormones to change her voice. Like she's literally transitioning into a dude. That's crazy.
Well, it's about 6:40, and I promised Dr. White, let's come back to this Israel and Iran and the United States, the latest coming out of with the peace deal working out in Gaza, and Israel and Iran's ceasefire. But latest coming out of Israel, there's another site that we need to take out in Iran, and that had to involve the United States to carry that operation. Yesterday, with all the media, one of the prime ministers in Iran said yes, the damage was severely impacted. Iran would have a nuclear bomb within 7 months. So now that's going to slow the process. When you look at the regime, it is a religious ideology. The way they condemn death to America, death to Israel, and what Iran supported some other group out there like Hezbollah and Yemen and Lebanon. Today, Syria is not a different stage. When you look at the history of terrorism that Iran carried throughout the country, when you look at what happened in Tehran in 1979 under Jimmy Carter, that's why we have that regime that we have today. When you look at the torture of American that was in prison, the MC bombing. So Iran, to carry that religious ideology, they're not playing. As to compare other country to, say, North Korea or Pakistan, who also have nuclear weapon, or in the region, Israel, to have nuclear weapon. But does not say, Dr. White, that they want to wipe Iran in the region. But Iran is always making the threat.
All right.
When you look at North Korea, yeah, he tests his missile, but It does not. He didn't say he want to wipe out Japan. Okay. When you look at Pakistan, it also didn't want to wipe out Indian, and you have to know how Pakistan's was divided. If you all know the history of Gandhi and the British, it was in one country, created division, but Iran in that region is not just a threat to Israel; it's a threat to our national security. When you look at the past 4 presidents who said the same thing that Donald Trump is saying today, I guess, Iran cannot continue to have or build a nuclear weapon.
Mhm. Well, a couple of things you have to look at.
Mhm.
All right. First of all, you have to go back to 1953. All right. In 1953, the United States and the
That's
United
explain to happened
right.
53. That's
All
the
right.
settlement of Israel, and
No, this is when the United States and
after the settlement of Israel.
yeah.
Okay. Right.
Well, the settlement of Israel came before 1953.
Yeah.
All right. But what you have now, in 1953, the United States and the United Kingdom, they overthrew the Democratic elected prime minister of Iran, and they created a leadership under a person called the Shah of Iran. His name was Shah Pahlavi, and they utilized him as their lapdog, as their puppet, to gain American and European and English influence in the region, to basically to set Iran up as a satellite for their influence. 1979. Then on top of that, they created a group called Slovak. Slovak was a police force that was trained by the United States and the UK for the Shah of Iran to get rid of any dissent. They massacred, they terrorized, they murdered people in the name of American society to make sure that Iran follows the patterns of American doctrine. Now, by 1979, 1977, 78, there's a movement growing. A movement is growing from an ousted leader who was in France at the time, whose name was Khomeini. And he is beginning to preach an ideology of self-determinism, self-rule, and without outside influence. Now note, Iran is the oldest country in the world. Their civilization goes back 7,000 years, not even close to anything else. And they have a nationality and nationalism that is rooted in Persian development, Persian art, Persian culture. And that means simply they were not going to allow another society or country to tell them what to do and how to do it. Now you're talking about attacking. Remind you that Israelis have attacked Iran in the 1980s, the 1970s, and the 1990s consistently. And Iran has never attacked another country in that region. And also what's interesting to note,
Well,
let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Then also interesting to note when you talk about, you're alluding to anti-Semitism. Now, Iran has the largest population of Jews of any country outside of Israel in that region. They're part of their democratic rule. They are elected into office. They have more synagogues in Iran than any country outside of Israel in that region. And this whole element that whereby they're torturing people, that's really propaganda. That is not taking
That's not
place.
propaganda. They just executed some of 1,000 people here last week, Dr. White.
I haven't seen no news on
Yeah,
that.
well, yeah.
Who? No, they execute. I have
Yeah,
to see
they,
about
yeah,
that.
they, yeah.
Executed thousands of people.
They
I
just
don't
executed,
think so.
yeah,
I don't
for
think so.
espionage. Yeah, they
They-
executed some today.
Not thousands of people.
No, 1,000,
I-
1,000,
I-
1,000
I-
plus.
I-
Okay,
Well,
hey, look it up.
well, if there are espionage, if they
Look
did
it
that,
up.
well, we have done that too, right? We had the Rosenbergs that we have executed, and others in the 1950s and 60s, and the 40s. So that's so if you go against a state and you are treasonous,
But
that's,
Dr. White, when you
that's-
have when you have a country is constantly, imagine Israel was the United States where you have group attacking you constantly,
But again-
and you say something there. Israel does not attack Iran without a justification.
No, that's
You look
not
at all.
true.
Okay,
No,
well,
it's-
just give me
it's-
one. I mean,
it's a sovereign state. It's a sovereign state.
You know,
and
they
it's,
either-
and by
they-
its
they-
international rule, the United Nations, you cannot attack a sovereign state without cause. They have utilized the whole element that they're building nuclear weapons.
October
Wait,
7,
wait,
Iran was
wait,
behind.
wait, wait,
Iran
wait,
supporting
wait, wait, wait.
Hezbollah. So October
What
7,
happened is that
you see
every
what happened
state-
October
every
7
state-
in
every
Israel.
state has a right for peaceful nuclear development. That's what all international bodies have.
But the
And
intention
this-
is
this-
not
this-
peaceful,
this-
Dr.
this-
White, and you know it. And
Iran has never attacked another country, all right, in that region. Israel, you cannot say that about. And you talk about nuclear energy, nuclear weapons. Israel has between 140 to 400 nuclear warheads.
well, does Israel make a threat that's going to wipe Iran out of the
Surely
map?
they make threats.
No.
They have.
Is
They
the
have.
Jews
They-
have stated
they-
they're going to wipe Iran out of.
Yes, they have.
no,
stated
no,
Surely
that's
they
not
have
that's
said-
not true, Dr. White.
They have said that. They said-
But
they-
does
they-
Iran
they-
say we're going to wipe Israel off the map? Yeah,
No, it's more of a slogan, like a statement.
slogan.
Yes. But
Dr. White, in
but-
reality,
but-
when
but-
somebody make a threat to you like this, that's not
yeah.
a slogan
when,
anymore.
when has
So when a
when
co-
has Iran attacked Israel? Give me one case, and I can give you 5 cases of Israel attacking Iran.
Okay, let me give you the
Think
case.
about it.
Let
Go-
me
go
let me
Google it.
no,
Go
I
Google
don't
it.
have to Google anything in this.
Google it. It's
No,
not
that-
there. They haven't
Okay,
done
let
it.
me give you
They haven't
October
done it.
7 was the last case, and Iran was funding Hezbollah.
That they
And-
attacked the Iran as a state.
No, I just
attacked-
give you
No,
I
no,
just
no,
give
no,
you
no,
the
no, no, no,
recent.
no,
I
no,
just
no,
give
no.
you what
Has Iran as a state?
No, when you say as Iran, those are
Iran as a
proxy,
state,
those are
as
proxy of
as a
Iran.
state attacked Israel?
No,
The answer is
it-
no.
No, they proxy. They are
Iran-
proxy. So
Iran
if
as
it's
a
not,
state.
is Iran
Iran-
involved
listen,
directly? Those
Iran
are proxies
as-
of Iran.
Iran as a
Dr.
state
White.
has never attacked Israel.
No, you keep saying,
All
but
right.
the government have not, but their proxies have. The Houthis have.
All right, here.
Okay,
Here's
the
difference.
Lebanon
The-
have.
the-
Those are the one who been funded
Israel-
by Iran.
Israel has never attacked.
So
Iran
that's
has
why
never attacked
Israel is have to
It-
defend themselves in
No,
all
Israel.
categories.
No. The reason why Israel attacks Iran is for this. It's not because of nuclear. It's because one, they want to expand their area. First, they attacked Syria, and even though Assange had left to go to Russia, they still attacked Syria
Because of the group
Let me finish.
that's in Syria. Go ahead.
Then secondly, Iran, along with the United States, want to partition Iran to make it weak and small because Iran has a long border with Russia. That the United States really wants to surround Russia as well as China. All right, that's the reason. And so therefore, Israel has become nothing more than a proxy for the United States to carry on an unjust war. And along with this, most Americans do not support Israel in this line any longer. Most Americans do not want a war. And also along with this, American interests, America has 25 bases in the Middle East that's ready to pounce on Iran. So who's the bigger threat? The bigger threat is Israel. All right? And the world has seen it, and there's no way around it. That's the bigger threat because they want to expand their territory. They want to see a weak Islamic state called Iran, so they can do whatever they want to do. The biggest threat in that region. I mean, look how many people.
Dr. White, Dr. White, you know,
400,000 in Gaza already. All right, and about a ceasefire. The reason why Israel called for a ceasefire, not Iran, it was because Iran was getting the best of Israel, and Israel said, "Uncle, Big Daddy, Uncle Sam, please come and help us."
Dr. White, I know you're not buying this.
It's
Israel could defend themselves. Dr. White, yes,
No,
Dr.
listen,
White, yeah. I mean, with the capability.
You have a country the size of
yeah, but
New
you
Jersey,
know the Israel capability military. It could take Iran, but
the Iron Dome failed. All right, the Israel's 2 airports were knocked out. It's nuclear,
they got some good shot. I agree with you, but
the nuclear site in Dimona was taken out. They don't say that. All right, not by Russia, not by China, but by Iran. All right, the people in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, in Jerusalem, they were running back to New York. They were running back to Chicago because they were frightened. They didn't want no more of this. So the United States said, "Listen, let's take a shot. Let's protect Israel." Israel was getting their butts beat, and they've been used to being a bully. They've been used to being a bully, and now you had Iran fighting back. But the bigger issue is that the American people, especially the people who voted for Trump, did not buy into having a war on the outside. We are adamantly against that. We don't like Ukraine's war, and we don't like Israel's war. We don't want no part of it. And if I have to die tonight, I would say that would be on my last breath. We do not want a war. And Israel, if they start something, let them take care of themselves.
Well, I guess.
All right, boys, put down the gloves.
We'll come back.
Let me tell you, the Democrats don't talk like this.
Well, I have to give Sister Warrior the last word here because the music. Go ahead, Sister Warrior.
Man, you guys were going at it. I was pulling this up to see, to keep up with what were you guys going on about. But great debate, you guys. I really have to say, you guys both handled it very well. But I think Issa White might have won that. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't have enough time. So he might get that first hit. But the thing is, if Dr. White is going to wait for Iran to get the bomb so he could blow up Israel in America, if ideology of Sharia law, Muslim in America, now with Sharia law, if that's what they want. So if that's what Dr. White want, yeah.
Well, I'll just say this. I am one of those people who did vote for President Trump because I don't want us in any wars. I don't want boots on the ground for Israel, for Gaza, for Ukraine, for nobody. I don't want none of our people on the ground for other countries. And I am actually in agreement with how President Trump did this with Iran, and where nobody died, but they destroyed, their capabilities. So I'm happy with that. So on that note, that's all I have to say on that situation. I know time is running out, so I'm glad to have been with you guys. And happy 4th of July to everyone. God bless you all. And, please be safe out there, because I know it can get dangerous in those streets. So be safe out there.
Thank you, Dr. White.
Listen, this wonderful discussion we had, this is something the Democrats don't do.
No.
They destroy dissent.
We're not afraid to debate. No. It's not.
We are the true party.
We're not afraid. We could have an agreement, just like I'm seeing right now with Candace Owens.
Oh yeah.
Taking the side. But I seen disagree with some Republicans. They throw to cancel out. What we complain about, the left is cancel people. We can't do that. So
that's right.
We just got to sit as a big family and handle it. Lady D's in the house. Lady D's in the house, looking great as usually. Happy Thursday. Happy 4th of July tomorrow. Lady D. You could take it, Jeff. Thank you very much, Jeff, for giving me another 2 hours. Wonderful with your guests. Thank you so much.
Thank you.